You are indeed the founder, managing partner. Steve, I'm really interested as to some of these milestones. Yes, it's about market capitalization, which is extraordinary. But to get 20 million cars on the road, to get 10 million of those with FSD, to get 1 million robots, 1 million robo-taxis, is that realistic?
Well, I think that's going to be awfully hard for Tesla to do. And again, I support incentive-based pay packages for CEOs. And the pay package sounds astronomical, but so are the milestones to get it. I mean, he's got a double market cap just even to get the first milestone. And I understand what they're doing. They want to get Musk 100% focused on Tesla. But the big question is still, how do you get Tesla back on a growth trajectory? We've got 2 years of flat growth here. They've got to get permitting for full self-driving in San Francisco and Austin, first things first. And then they've got to start selling humanoid robots. Musk has said they're going to shoot for 5,000 this year. That feels a little aspirational, but whatever it takes to kick the company into a higher gear, that's what shareholders should be looking for.
Steve, section or page A51 of the proxy, if I bring it up and you allow me to read it to you, the board receives assurances that Musk's involvement with the political sphere would wind down in a timely manner. One of the reasons that Caroline and I wanted to get you on the show is you did sit on Tesla's board for 3 years. You've been a controller of a state in California. How do those provisions come about? How do you interpret it?
Well, look, I think there's two things going on. Musk is saying, look, I want to be wildly incentivized if I do great things for shareholders. And I think shareholders, I think the board is saying, okay, fair enough. We're going to have to set awfully high standards, and that's not just going to be performance standards for selling more cars, for getting full self-driving and really showing the promise of AI in Tesla. And he's also going to have to really make the humanoid robot proposition real. I think if he does those things, he deserves a big pay package. But you touched on something else. The board clearly wants to see him focused on Tesla, and that probably means less politics, less focus on some of the other properties that are already doing extraordinarily well. So you can see why the board constructed it as they did. Let's see if shareholders support it. I have a hunch they will. And the big question is, it's going to be game on for Tesla. Can he hit these wildly audacious goals?
Within the operational goals, there is the target to produce 1 million humanoid Optimus robots. There is to build the robotaxi fleet to 1 million vehicles. But there is still a goal in there, Steve, to produce and sell and deliver 20 million electric vehicles to consumers. In other words, Tesla's historic bread and butter. That seems to contradict like the big picture vision for AI. You know, in a world where Tesla operates a proprietary ride-hailing app, he's still being asked to deliver tens of millions of vehicles directly to the consumer.
And you put your finger on the linchpin here, as always. What I love about this is what I suspect, and I don't know, but what I suspect Elon wants is an audacious, big target, because that's what gets his adrenaline going. Great. What I think the board is pushing for is, hey, don't forget, you've got to sell a lot of electric and autonomous vehicles, and competition's coming. So let's come back to the real world for a minute. Volkswagen unveiling a $29,000 ID2 next week in Europe. That's going to be hugely competitive. BYD Europe sales up 225%, while Tesla Europe sales are down 50%. Cybertruck sales down 50%. Now Ford's coming out with a $30,000 competing truck. And in China, competition's huge. And now not only is BYD rocketing up with more EV sales, but Geely, Starwish, a new $10,000 EV in China, biggest selling car in China. There's competition coming from all sides. And I think this is the board's way of saying, hey, don't forget, you still have to sell a lot of cars if you want anywhere near this size of bonus. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, Steve, so if you're on the board and as an investor, how does he turn around the bread and butter, the selling of cars?
Well, again, we've talked about that one a lot. Everybody is going to be coming out with a $20,000 to $25,000 car. Tesla has been late in getting that to market. They need to do it. Here's a point that people really need to get their arms around. We're reaching cost parity for EVs this year. Now, people are going to say, hey, what's going to happen in Q3? I can tell you in Q3, EV sales are going to be up in the US because everybody's rushing to still get that last government credit, and then it's going to go away. A lot of people say, me, oh my, is that going to crush the industry? Absolutely not. What you should understand, the average EV price dropped
Right.
$14,000 in 2025. EVs are soon going to be cheaper than internal combustion vehicles, and that's going to continue for the rest of our lives.
Steve, later in the program, we're going to go deep on the shareholder-initiated proposal for Tesla to invest in XAI. But if you look across the broad package, would you please kindly assign what chances you give that shareholders will vote in favor of all of those provisions at the November annual meeting?
Well, look, it's hard to know. It's the biggest pay package in history by far. But again, they've attached the goals to such high numbers where they're trying to create a win-win. I have a hunch that shareholders are going to support this. I think what they really want to see is the two things you've pointed out. One, Musk dropping back from politics and focusing fully on Tesla. And two, getting back to the reality of selling more cars, getting full regulatory approval for autonomous driving. Those are the goals ahead of him. I hope he hits them.